Hey everyone, it's me, the goat, Billy.
Bah!
Stick around and I'll show you a spectacular hike in the heart of the West Kootenays, Old Glory Mountain. It used to be a fire lookout, now it's more of an abandoned hiker attraction. The old burnt ruins still remain to this day. Wild to think that the original structure was built by horseback. We'll see all sorts of glorious flowers, breathtaking views, and even a little black bear. Join me on an astonishing adventure.
A little smoky out today. Definitely smells like campfire out here. Hello everyone. I've made it to the trailhead of the Old Glory Trail. So that's going to link up to the Seven Summits Trail, which I did last year. And then it's going to continue on back onto the Old Glory Trail to the Old Glory Mountain. Now I wanted to do this one last year, but I ran into a logistical issue of only finding one watering hole over 47 kilometers. And yeah, when you're carrying 40 pounds on your back, it's a bit of an issue over 3 days. So if you ever come here and backpack it, I don't recommend it. It's time to start today's journey. We head right into the forest as soon as we get to the trailhead. And right after that, there's a fork in the road, one going to Plumen Trail and one going to the Old Glory Trail. Here's a quick overview of where we'll be going today. Starting at the Old Glory Trailhead is where we begin our glorious ascent. After about 3 kilometers, there is a junction which will take us to the Seven Summits Trail. We go for just shy of another 4 kilometers and the path will fork once again, and it will take us to the next leg of the Old Glory Trail. 3 kilometers more to go and we're at the top. It's about a 10-kilometer hike total to get to the summit of Old Glory Mountain. Going back will be slightly quicker and steeper since we'll be going down Plumen Trail. According to the legend, it will be a 17.3 kilometer hike total. Some alpine asters. Look what I've stumbled upon. These flowers are one of my favorites. They are called lupines. They are very easy to spot even before they start flowering. Lupin leaves have unmistakable long narrow leaves that tend to resemble the shape of a star. The flowers spire upwards into a cone-like shape. The older ones start at the base and the newer flowers begin spawning at the top of the cone. The flowers come in every color you can think of. If you buy them at the garden center, you will have rainbow cones coming up in a few months. In the mountains, however, I've only seen them in a light violet or blue color. Most species are perennials, which is great if you're like me and are a lazy gardener. Plant once and forget about them. For a small plant, they have a deep taproot, so it's best if you plant them in the ground and leave them there. A deep pot will work too, however, they are extremely sensitive to being repotted and is not recommended. Lupins are part of the legume family, and when they seed, they have a similar resemblance to pea pods that you would buy at the store. Historically, in Europe and South America, they are cultivated for their seeds and are edible. Since they are part of the pea family, they are high in protein. In fact, they are complete protein like soybeans or quinoa. But as is tradition on this channel, the wild ones in North America, such as the ones you see here, the beans are generally toxic. Don't eat those. We have arrived at the Seven Summits Junction where the lupins are abundant. Right around the corner, there is a spooky surprise waiting just for us. I wonder what it's gonna be. Hey there, Mr. Bear. Turns out it wasn't so spooky after all. And there she be, Ye Old Glory Weather Station. Made it nearly to the top of Old Glory Mountain. appears I found some ruins. I think this is the original shack. So all along the path there's this wire. I don't know if it's still alive, but I've crossed it a few times. But yeah, let's check this place out. An old generator or a pump. Bunch of old rusty nails. Make sure you're wearing your boots for this one. So that was the old coal furnace. And that was the thing that made this place disappear. The guy that was manning the station was sleeping in that bed right there, and he left the door open and it got a little bit too toasty. And he escaped into a nearby lookout with just his life while this place went up in flames. They never did rebuild it. So all this wire here, that's all phone line. Typically they used FM radios out here, but sometimes those would fail, so they'd have to use the phone line, which would also often fail because it would get crushed in the fallen trees or rocks or something would mess it up. They also had a bunch of lightning rods which absorbed the electrical impact, which would also often get destroyed. So this place took a lot of abuse, tons of abuse. That's pretty cool. Alright, there's one other thing I want to check out before I go to the new weather station. There's like a pit over down there. Look at that, still a bunch of snow. Not sure what this was. Maybe it was the remnants of the outpost I was speaking about earlier, but I don't know. It's just a mosquito breeding den right now. Not as smoky up here though, but you can see that tinge of blue. It's kind of everywhere. That's the smoke. Doesn't look as bad to the west, to the south. It's definitely a little bit more smoky. I've made it to the top of the top. Here's a lookout at the very top of Old Glory Mountain. Let's check it out. Have some lore. I think a lot of that was just repeated from the stuff that was down there. Some antique cans. List of goods they needed from 1958. Log of all the people that manned this place until the late 70s. Now this thing's pretty cool. So there's a map on here, and you line up this doodad with a mountain way out yonder, any mountain peak that you can think. And then there's a little piece of wire that kind of keeps everything straight so you can see exactly what mountain you're poking at, but it's broken. You can still kind of use it that way. And there's a little thing here, little knob, where you can adjust the height.
So you can see exactly what mountain peak you're looking at. Yeah, it just does a whole 360 spin. I mean, nowadays you can like use All Trails or any other sort of GPS, but this is what they used back in the day. So there's like a tiny little pinhole there. And yeah, just get it all lined up with that crosshair, and yeah, you can figure out which mountain. So there used to be a fire lookout up here. And if they saw a fire on the mountain, they could say what mountain, which way it's blowing, and they'd be able to relay all that information back down. So there's some other features. So there's like lightning rods all across the top here. Obviously the lightning hit, like look at that. Just anytime any connection, any spot where there's a connection, it's just fried. That's pretty neato. They put plywood on the outside after they decommissioned it, but I imagine that was kind of to help vent out the inside. Imagine it got quite toasty in here, especially with the oven going on. Yeah, there's a bit of a scary dungeon down there. I don't know, I'm not gonna go down there. That was probably like a cold room or a cellar or something before they had the fridge. Gorgeous day out on Glory Mountain. Just a little bit of smoke as far as the eye can see. Nothing too crazy today. I've been up here for a couple hours. Super glad I was able to summit this one. Finally got to complete a mission from last year that I really wanted to do. So yeah, feel great about that. And yeah, it was pretty busy today. It was a Saturday, so there's a few groups of people, but I was able to manage a bit of alone time up here. And that's always really, really nice. But it's about time for me to say goodbye. And I am getting a little cold. It's actually fairly chilly. It's been pretty cold the past like 3 days, which is odd for the middle of summer out in the interior, but I'm not the one who makes the weather. The weather does that, so yeah, it's about time for me to go. So I'm gonna say goodbye to the good old Glory Shack. Goodbye, Glory Shack. And also, goodbye, Glory Mountain. It's been great. I think everyone should give it a go. Even you. It's not too hard to do. It's a 16-kilometer round trip. And you'll have a great time. Bring a friend, bring a dog, bring a cat if you want. There's lots of mountain bikers up here, so you can bike most of the way up until it gets really steep. But even then, if you're ambitious enough, you could probably give that a go. So yeah, it's great up here. Anyways, that's it for now. Hope you all have a great day. See you next time.
Trails on fire, baby.